Greetings. Okay, so you've made it through the semester. Now we're going to focus in on the midterm to the final component. And I apologize for not speaking sooner, but I do have vocal cord paralysis. So I apologize for my voice completely. So in this folder, there are 5 distinct language styles. You've been reading a little bit about them, and we're going to move forward. Martin Joos, there's a variety of spelling in some of the articles that you've read, but it's Joos. He's German. Oh, he's an American of German descent, and he was born in 1907, died in the 1978. So this is a pretty solid theory, if you will. He worked at UW-Madison, which is pretty well known at the time for this linguist communication style. He was the head of the German department for quite a while, and he really understood that there was a link between style shifting as appropriate to the audience and the environment. So, for example, if you're in church, you're going to speak differently to the pastor. If you're going to speak to the pastor, to your boyfriend, girlfriend, dog, etc. You don't usually speak the same way to your dog as you would to the pastor. That's my point. Okay, so the 5 language styles. So he came up with this 5 clocks, and every clock was a different type of style. The highest one, or the one that's most is called the frozen style, so it doesn't change. The typical example is the Bible. Okay, it doesn't matter if I read the Bible, you read the Bible to yourself. You have the Pope read the Bible. Everybody's reading the same utterance. It's not differentiated. For example, the example that I also found here is the written songs, poems, ballads. So it remains the same with every utterance. There's not a lot of expectation of audience here, so you're not really playing for a particular audience. You'll see that with the others. As we go down in the clocks, you'll see this. The next one is the formal clock, or the formal language style. It's a monologue. Again, you're not interacting with anyone. You're just telling the tale. 7 years ago, that type of thing. The listener does not participate. There's no option to ask questions or what did you really mean by that? And what is fourscore? There is none of that. You Googled it on your own time. It's often in formal context, so it might be your preacher saying something in a particular way. There is very little context for culture or interpersonal aspects to it. So these are frozen and formal. You can almost see how if when you graduate, you'll go to commencement, and there will be a speaker that is not looking for interaction. They will give you, the success story, and you will listen to it. Now moving, this is more of the business one that you should be reading about in your textbook. It's more of a professional business. Consultative is also typically called the business language. So it's a dialogue, so you're allowed to interact. So if the chancellor walks in, what are you going to be? You're not going to be like, hey, pasa. You're going to be, good afternoon, Dr. Riley, or good afternoon, Chancellor Riley. And when you talk about something, you need to give enough background or context so each one understands where the other one is coming from. So the typical example would be generational, right? If I'm using fat, I'm going to, or sick, or whatever the current trend is, you're going to assume it's going to be, fat means chubby, sick means I have the flu. You're not going to assume that somebody, of my generation is going to be trying to be cool or whatever version of that is. And, sometimes, there's ironic language, like dig it or groovy or whatever. You just have to know the context of the individual to understand that the best. Again, if I'm using a word like groovy, you're going to be like, wow, whoa, where'd this person come from? So I'm going to have to either be obviously ironic or explain where it comes from. The best one that I can think of is swag, SWAG, because there are songs that say swagger. And when people in business talk about swag, they're talking about free stuff. So when you go to a conference or something, a convention, you get free pens, squeeze balls, that type of stuff. That's also known as swag. Same kind of, it's the same word, but it's in a completely different context. So that's why if you don't know that, you're going to have to figure it out. So that's why everybody, explains it in detail. It's semi-formal, it's business, it's professional, it's in the consultative context. Next is the casual. So this could be between colleagues or classmates or somebody that you know, a friend, where you have some sort of inside joke or shared knowledge, and you participate. How's it going? Yeah, que pasa? What's new? That kind of thing, where it's informal. You don't have to you don't have to give a lot of background because you have that same history together, and you feel confident and comfortable. So it's a more informal. And please note that it says dialogue. Many of these, at least the first two, uh, frozen and formal, are not dialogues. It's one to many, or at least giving a presentation. The previous one, the professional or consultative, is a very academic or professional way of speaking and having a conversation with another person. This casual style is somebody that you feel comfortable with. It is different than the last one, which is the intimate. The intimate means that you don't even have to have words. You can be holding something up and going, hmm? Or somebody gives you a taste of something, you go, you know what that means. So it's people that you know. When I speak to my dog, I go, she knows what that means. So it's just a different level of understanding. Those are the 5 styles of language, according to Martin Joos. I'm going to give you this PowerPoint also, and you will see that there's something called code switching or style shifting. That's very current, and it seems to be the way that it's interpreted is more on race or ethnicity. So you know that you might be, I don't know, que pasa at home, or how's it going, or whatever, and then you know that you are aware that that's not the way you speak to an older person. Generational communication is a really good example. So is business and professional communication. So you will see that this is something that you can, talk about and might refer to when you write your paper. Paper, you say? The assignment. Okay, so you're going to be thinking about Martin Joos' 5 clocks. You're going to focus on the consultative because that's also what's in the textbook, although they don't call it that. They talk about the formal organizational context of communication or interpersonal communication in a business setting. That is consultative. And you can select another style or be aware of other styles as you're reading, reflecting on your textbook, the articles and videos in this folder, any other articles that you found, and then using the Sarah Horan and Passera article as your template. And that's the one that uses President Obama's speech, and they go through it. That's what you're going to be doing. Now, if you know anything about it, this is the beginning of a true content analysis. We are not doing a thorough content analysis because there's like math and real true counting involved. So we're doing the preliminary, if you will. If you need to call it something, it's a content analysis because you're going through and you're looking and you're going, okay, so you're matching. This language sounds like consultative, and then you're going to do exactly what the article on President Obama is. You're going to script that out, and then you'll write your article similarly to, or your essay, if you will, to what you found through the Obama book. Obama's article, although they did spell Martin Joos' name incorrectly. So Bear that in mind. Because the textbook focus is on organization and professional interpersonal relationships, that's really where you need to go to. So this is the last part of the assignment. You'll have details on the assignment for your final, and there'll also be a rubric. Thank you.